What's up, everybody? So we're going to put color theory into practice by using the three primary colors to make our own color wheels. What we're going to do today is just to mix the actual colors from these, and then what we'll do later is actually make a creative color wheel, based on the colors that you have made, that you have painted. So what I'm going to do is I want to set myself up to make something like this where I can basically have swatches of different colors. So this is one that I started, but I want to show you how to draw the boxes. So let's start, get a pencil starting near the edge. I want to have 3 lines that are about equal length they take up most of the space along the edge. Okay, then I'm gonna rotate the paper. I want to have 4 lines on this long side, also near the edge. They're going to be about the same length as the first line that you drew. And also, let's be honest, this does not need to be perfect. I'm not asking you all to use a ruler. I don't think it's worth it for this, but also I do want for you to have space between each of your areas, like that of your swatches that you're going to be painting. So anyways, that's why I'm asking you to follow these procedures. Anyways, the nice thing about, having the lines around the edge is that you sort of have a roadmap you just have guidelines for how big to place all your other squares. So I'm gonna draw 12 of these. Pause this video if you need to. All right, so this is a little too far. Okay, also I'm gonna write my name on the back. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is to use 3 different paintbrushes, and I am going to work in color families, I call them. So I think I just want to start with red, and I'm just going to take my paintbrush, dip it in one of the red wells, and let's try to get a nice even coating of this paint. So once you have enough paint on there, kind of go over it with your brush until the paint is smooth. I think it's best to do this by moving kind of quickly. All right. So what I want to do now is to make this series of colors, but I'm actually going to start with the yellow-orange. And the reason for that is because it's a lot easier to make a color darker than it is to make a color lighter. So that means it's a lot easier for me to, convince the yellow to be yellow-orange by adding just a little bit of red. Tiny amount, and now it's like a really different color. So this is sort of the first shade you're gonna go for. Something that kind of looks like an Easter Bunny carrot cartoon kind of deal. Maybe like a candy corn yellow, something like that. All right, once your color is evenly mixed in the well, go ahead and paint it on. And you also want for this to be a pretty smooth swatch. Okay. Once you're happy with how this is going, what we're gonna do is, you can add another coat of paint too. Okay, what I'm gonna do now is to try to darken this to like a basketball orange, that sort of medium shade, or maybe like an actual fruit orange, that kind of deal. Okay, again, when you are mixing up your colors, you want to make sure that they're totally blended in the well on the palette before you paint, and then that will make your life easier. Do your best to keep the paint off the table and also out of the neighboring boxes. And okay. So now what I want to make is a red-orange. So for this, it's going to be more like a tomato color. give it a try. And once it's all smoothly mixed up, paint that in here. I really like that color. All right. So once you are finished with this one, you can put this brush aside. You are done with this first brush, and we're gonna go on to our next series of colors. So what I'd like to do is and we can do greens. So what I'm gonna do is to put plain yellow here. Okay, and now what's going to happen to this yellow is it's going to become a yellow-green. So what we're going to do for that is to add a little bit of blue to our yellow. We're going to mix this until it's smooth, and here we go. Depending on, I think, your color preference, if you want it to be like a really lime green, you can create that. I'm going to go for something a little bit less fluorescent. Okay, anyways, so once I have that painted on, seems pretty good. And I'm gonna proceed to add more blue until I have a medium green. Okay, for the last one, I'm gonna add a good amount of blue, and I wanna get something that's like a teal color, like a blue-green. Okay. All right, when you're finished with this, you can put this brush in the water. We're gonna mix up our last series of colors, which are gonna be purples. So I'm gonna start with just plain blue before I start mixing this. So I have a space for my last primary color here. And all right, so let's, excuse me. I would like for us to start with a red violet. So what I'm gonna do is to mix a little bit of blue into the red. And what I wanna get is something like a, you know, like a raspberry color. Yeah, something like that. And I guess I will put it over here just because I feel like it. Something like that. Okay, what I'm gonna do now is to keep following this pattern, mix in some more blue. I wanna get like a medium purple, like a grape kind of purple. If when you paint your actual paper with the paint color and it's not quite right, you can always let it dry and paint over it later. So don't feel like it's a permanent, fixture. Because I find it harder to, I don't know, for some reason, I think it's easier to just mix the blue violet into a separate well with like half blue and half of that mixture, because you do need kind of a lot of paint to darken it. Anyway, so you want like a blueberry color, and once you've got that, you can paint it here. And then you're done. So we're actually gonna put this to the side, let it dry, and then after it's dry, then we'll go on to our next step of making a creative color wheel.